In one of the most chilling chapters in Oklahoma City's history, the gruesome finality of 5 lives was shockingly displayed, piled atop one another, creating a horrifying tableau. This event would come to be known as the Sirloin Stockade Massacre, a crime that ranked among the most heinous the city had ever witnessed. In the walk-in freezer of the restaurant, the blood of the victims mingled with the mundane inventory of supplies, painting a horrific scene that would forever haunt the memories of those who discovered it. Amidst the industrial-sized containers of ground beef and blue cheese lay the victims, a medley of youth and experience, their lives tragically intertwined in their final moments. The older victims, Louis Zacharias and Isaac Freeman, were bound by their years of wisdom and experience, offering no shield from the brutal and bewildering senselessness of their end. In their shadow, a trio of youth, David Lindsay, David Salzman, and Anthony II, lay sprawled, their futures mercilessly stolen, barely having begun to scratch the surface of adulthood. Their final positions told a tale of sudden chaos, of a regular evening that spiraled into a scene straight from a nightmare. Among them, one of the boys, with the unassuming air of innocence, sat slumped against a makeshift backdrop of beef boxes, his blonde hair peeking from a trucker cap, his posture eerily serene as if in silent protest against the violence that had claimed his stillness. As the paramedics worked frantically, desperate hope lingered for the 6th victim, young Terry Horst, only 15. Life clung to her by the thinnest of threads as she was rushed from the carnage, but fate had already laid its cruel path, and soon she too would succumb to her injuries, the final echo of an unfathomable act. In the aftermath, a pall of questions enveloped the city. Who could commit such an act, and why? The absence of suspects only deepened the mystery, the brutality of the killings a stark and harrowing enigma against the backdrop of Oklahoma City's summer. It was a case that challenged the minds of the law enforcement and chilled the bones of the community, a case that unfolded like the darkest of novels, where the villains were characters of flesh and blood, their motives obscured by shadows. And then the names emerged from the shadows, a sinister trio. Roger Dale Stafford, his wife, Verna Stafford, and his brother, Harold Stafford. They were not new to the cold-blooded dance of death. Merely weeks before the bloodbath at the Sirloin Stockade, they had mercilessly extinguished the lives of the Lorenz family. Yet another chapter of horror authored by the same hands. The method? The same. The result? A family torn asunder, a chilling prelude to the massacre that awaited at the friendly neighborhood steakhouse. The spree of violence abruptly ended for Harold Stafford in a whirl of steel and speed on Tulsa's unforgiving roads. Some whispered of suicide, a soul unable to bear the weight of its deeds. But whatever truth lay in his demise, it changed nothing for the survivors and the loved ones left grappling with loss. It was just another grim footnote in a summer of blood. In an unexpected twist, laced with drunken irony, Roger Dale Stafford dialed in his own fate. His call to the police, a hazy confession naming his own kin in the heinous acts, cracked the case wide open. Within the grip of justice, both he and Verna soon found themselves caged by the very system they had mocked with their crimes, their trail of terror curtailed by the very hands that once dealt death so freely. Verna, behind the bars for life, her chances of breathing free air again denied by the state. Roger, grinning grotesquely through his trial, meeting his end on the executioner's gurney, even as his last words, scribbled on the back of a gift certificate, protested a wrongful end he would never live to see righted. The scars of those summer days in 1978, a collage of tragedy and unanswered questions, lingered long in the collective memory of Oklahoma City. Detective Chambers, who stood amid the chilling stillness of a crime scene that bore witness to pure evil, knew more than anyone the weight of such loss. It was a clear message written in blood. Dead witnesses tell no tales. On the streets, within the walls of the courtroom, and ultimately on the path to the death chamber, the echoes of those who perished in the freezer that night reverberated. A grim reminder that among us walk individuals whose capacity for violence knows no bounds.